And welcome back, everyone, to Lantern Corps. Today's Lantern Corps comes to us from the Great Guldo, who asked the question, what is the Lantern Corps of the Headless Horseman? Now, there are many variations on the Headless Horseman lore and even just in media. We have the standard Sleepy Hollow from Disney. Then we have the Sleepy Hollow movie, which I have the image of here. Sleepy Hollow, the TV series. I know there's a couple other ones as well. I think Sleepy Hollow, like a horseman type character exists, I think, in Supernatural. I think. I can't quite remember. I know there's like a species of being that can like take their head off. And some other one. Like those Sleepy Hollow lore and the Headless Horseman lore exist throughout in different mediums and media. But I think we can just kind of consolidate the main ones as a whole, because I think they all generally maintain the same emotional core. Now, right out the gate, though, let's get a couple of these out of the way. Will doesn't really work, as none of the horsemen are really all that afraid of anything, per se, or, well, not afraid, that's not the right word, are not really individuals of willpower. They're forces of other things, but not willpower. Not to say they don't have willpower, it's just it's a different type of emotional spectrum for them. Not spectrum, it's just a different type of emotion they're using, I think. They're not lanterns of sorrow, nor lanterns, gold lanterns of happiness, nor lanterns of shame, and certainly not lanterns of life. So you take that into equation. I think there's at least 3 options here, but I'm only going to list, and I'm only going to list 3, but I will at least bring up some. Right out the gate, not a lantern of hope either, not a lantern of love, and not a lantern of real greed. It's just they don't really desire much, just to kill. Compassion is the one I didn't put on the list, and the reason for that is actually because while they were alive, they were ruthless, sure, but there was still some level of humanity in them. And if you go into the Sleepy Hollow TV show, where it turns out, I believe the Headless Horseman is like one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, I've never watched Sleepy Hollow for context, but I do know bits and pieces of the lore, and it gets weird. So compassion could definitely work for some of the horsemen, but particularly that horseman of war. There was other emotions going on in there that I think could allow that individual to not be a lantern of compassion. Because they look for people that are more or less devoid of it. And most versions of the Lantern Corps, or most versions of the Horsemen, would count. So there's that. Now, beyond that, though, fear has got to be right at the top. Everyone was afraid of the Horsemen in every continuity. So no matter what, I would have to at least say fear has got to be in the top 3. Beyond that, though, I'd say that rage is probably your second most likely candidate. These guys are angry. Every version is just a angry, rageful spirit of vengeance and just wanting death. Particularly, I want to say the Sleepy Hollow TV series version, because unlike the other 2, which was where it was more just a vengeful spirit that was kind of being focused on one certain task, particularly in the movie, the Sleepy Hollow one was actually more aware of who it was and had more motivation than just that. But if we're getting technical, the answer should be death. The Headless Horseman is a spirit. It's not of the living anymore. So by all accounts, this should just be your automatic answer, that a Black Lantern ring would be the ring in question. But if we were not doing that, and we were to say that another ring would qualify, it would be between fear and rage. And I mean, this is a Sophie's choice. I think, honestly, the Horseman could qualify for either of these very well. I think, though, surprisingly, fear works a little better if we're looking at the overall continuity of all the Horsemen. Whereas I'd say probably the Sleepy Hollow TV version of this Headless Horseman is a bit more qualified as a as a Rage Lantern because he is more self-aware than the other versions of the Headless Horseman. So I'd say Fear for the overall, Rage for the TV version, and the obvious answer sadly is Death because they are spirits. So those would be the three options I'd go with. And Compassion, I think, is like the bronze medal or whatever. Let's say platinum, gold, silver, and bronze. Let's say the bronze medal winner here. That's just my thoughts, though. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.